But initially, the first thing that I would say is move away from the resolutions, move away from the black and white. It's about being intentional, being purposeful. When you're intentional and purposeful about something, you want to ensure that you focus your best efforts on making it happen. Now, that doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, but at least you're working towards making it happen. And to me, intentional and purposeful actioning is so important because it shows someone that you are loving them. It shows someone that you are valuing them. And it shows someone, most importantly, that you want to bring about that change.
Welcome to Success Decoded. I'm your host, Taylor Elizabeth, an emotional intelligence and self-development coach passionate about helping individuals uncover their true potential, build their confidence, and create meaningful success. This podcast is not just about achievements, titles, or material success. It's about exploring the deeper, often overlooked factors that contribute to extraordinary accomplishments. In each episode, I sit down with inspiring individuals from a variety of backgrounds to uncover their choices, habits, and mindsets that have shaped their journeys. Together, we explore the story behind the success, diving into resilience, emotional growth, curiosity, and other essential elements that often go unnoticed, but are crucial to living a truly fulfilled and impactful life. Get ready to decode the real keys to success, and let's embark on this enlightening conversation together. Welcome to Success Decoded with Taylor Elizabeth. Today, I'm thrilled to share this space with the remarkable Shalini Chuganee, aka Shali. She's an academic powerhouse, branding innovator, and cognitive behavioral therapist. Her journey is one of transformation, from earning international recognition at just 19 to shaping lifestyles and lives with her unique approach to personal relationships and self-growth. What excites me the most is diving into her concept of me-evolution, the evolution of self through struggle. Shalini's journey is a masterclass in growing through all phases of life with grace. From empowering young minds to guiding individuals through self-discovery and relationship challenges, she's a true example that success isn't defined by a singular journey, but by living authentically and reaching for your goals through your interests and desires. So it's such a joy to have you here, Shalini. I see on Instagram you go by Shy.
I do.
Can I call you that today?
Please call me that.
Oh, thank you so
so
much.
excited to be here as well. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited about this interview. So we've had some time to catch up and to get to know each other a little bit.
We have.
So I guarantee to our viewers, this is going to be an amazing interview. So are you ready?
Yeah. I'm super excited.
Yes, super excited. Okay,
right.
So you have beyond an extraordinary educational background. We actually share an alma mater.
We do.
We do. We are both GW, very proud GW alumni.
Absolutely. Shout out to GW.
Yeah, huge shout out to GW. And we share the fact that we're both emotional intelligence coaches or experts in some area.
Yes.
But you are a cognitive behavioral therapist, if I'm not mistaken.
I am.
Yes?
I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. I focus a lot on the psychotherapy and that aspect of it. Yeah.
On relationships in particular?
Relationships in particular, trauma processing as well.
Okay.
I believe it's very important to understand that the quality of your thoughts do determine the quality of your life to a great degree. And a lot of our thoughts must be processed in the sense that they need to be reframed.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I focus on CBT and why I wanted to go into CBT, because I felt my thoughts had a huge impact on who I was versus who I am today.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, the thought model, right?
Absolutely.
So this is actually something as an emotional intelligence coach that I use a lot as well. So it's using the thought model about how all of our feelings are coming from our thoughts.
Absolutely.
Right? And so our thoughts really, we are what we think, right?
We are
100% what we think.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So kind of related to this, I like to start all of my podcasts with asking or speaking about something called what I call with my clients elegant virtues. Okay. So it's your values, it's your habits, your principles, and how you define and show up in the world, right? So it's more than just the outside. Because when I talk about being in the elegance advisor, or talk about etiquette, oftentimes it's an external, but it's always an external projection of the way we think, right?
Absolutely.
The way our mindset.
Absolutely.
So I would love to know, what virtue do you believe embodies elegance, and has that virtue shaped your journey at all?
Absolutely. So I would say there are multiple virtues that, that embody elegance for me because I'm so multi-systemic in the way I approach anything. But I think the one that stands out the most for me is authenticity. Okay, genuineness. Now, don't mistake that for honesty and, all of the aspects, the integrity, honesty, ethics. Those are all great. I do believe in each and every one of them.
Yes.
But when I say authenticity, I mean being the real version of you. I don't think there's anything more beautiful than allowing your real self to come out without an agenda and being intentional about just showing the world who you really are, because I know that everybody has that element of kindness within them, empathy, compassion, beauty, heart, all of that. And if you just tap into that and you internalize that, I think that is one of the greatest things you can give the world.
Yes.
So I always say, as we spoke earlier, that I believe in love because of the way I love. And to me, if you would ask me what is my greatest virtue, it would honestly be the ability to love the way I do and to say that love is a verb. And it's not a noun.
Yes.
So I will action that out. So there's multiple things. Again, like I said, I mean, there's empathy, there's humanitarian aspects, there is the values that we grow up with, there is societal accommodations that work with you. But more than that, it's just the authenticity to just be you. Don't try and alter yourself to make someone else happy, because without any, sense of anything, it is going to backfire on you at some point.
This is very
Just
true.
start off being real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that embodies the most elegance that it can be.
Well, you embody that fully. And when listening to you, I mean, I think as a confidence coach, since that's the area that I focus on mainly, we really talk about this sense of authenticity, because from there comes everything else.
Absolutely.
It all starts within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Hearing the passion that you talk about your subject, actually hearing the emotion that I hear in your voice. I don't want to read too much into it, but I could feel that you were very emotive about what you were saying, because you believe very strongly in it. This is your passion meets purpose, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, oh my God, we are meant to talk to each other, I think, because this is what I always say. I was asked by, someone a few years ago, and, what is your game plan? Because I was a brand consultant. I was doing very well. I was successful. I loved it. And I said, you know what? I've used the emotional quotient to do a lot of brand strategy, the neurological essence behind consumer buying patterns, et cetera, et cetera. Until then, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And I was clear. So luckily, the main thing was I did poli-sci. So at least I didn't have to switch my major up completely. So political science was there. But working at the UN, getting that, suddenly the IQ, which by God's grace, we have and we work on and we consistently nurture, and we build it to what it needs to build through academics, through experiential learning, through whatever, theory, practical. I've noticed how important the EQ was. I think being at that sensitive age and working in a space where you actually saw things that opened you up to humanity, I think that's when the human in me just kind of came out. And that's why I said that, one of my mottos is that I do see a lot of humans. I don't see enough humanity.
Yes.
And I kind of want to bring that out because the humanity aspect is so strong. So I would say that started leading me onto this journey of, again, the multi-systemic, where I wanted multiple degrees and I wanted to focus on political science, but I also wanted to focus on management and business administration. I wanted to focus on history. I wanted to focus on culture. I wanted to focus on everything I could focus on.
Humanity. It's everything that
encompasses everything.
Yeah.
And then it took me through that. Then as a political consultant, I moved over here. Now, politics over here. It's a little difficult. It's a little challenging, not from the aspect that you cannot make it work. It's just a very different system.
Yeah, it's a different system.
And so then I went into brand consulting. And then from brand consulting, I decided that I'll use the same foundation principles. Suddenly lobbying became consumer acquisition, everything brand, awareness is issues management, developing the USPs was more like, developing campaigns, all of these things started altering and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But then therapy was it.
Please tell us how you think about fear.
So fear, this is a wonderful question because, and I'm going to say something that's slightly controversial, but it's okay.
Go
It's
right
okay.
ahead,
Yeah. Sometimes, every time I start doing a podcast or an interview, I'm like, am I going to get canceled? But anyway,
I wonder if that's like, I guess that's still happening, being
It is.
canceled, but I feel
It
like
is.
it's, I think you can probably get around
It's
it.
okay.
Yeah, I
There's
think you
still
get
going to
around
be
it.
enough people that will resonate with,
Yeah.
that this will resonate with. No, but honestly, okay. So a little bit of CBT into this, okay? Just to plug it in, just so you understand what I'm saying. Why did I choose CBT? Okay,
Please.
like I said, the thought aspect, right? Working with the thoughts, working with the emotions. Now, first and foremost, a lot of people consider fear to be an emotion that's mental. It's actually physical because it stems from sensations.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly, yeah.
So it's a physical emotion. Now, taking into that, when you go to a psychiatrist, they're going to give you, and you say, I have anxiety. Again, anxiety is just basically Botoxed fear. Excuse my language, but that's what it is, a hyperactive type of fear, right? So basically, when you go to a psychiatrist, they're going to tell you, we're going to give you an SSRI, a benzodiazepine, something to rid your fear.
Yeah.
You go to a psychologist, they're going to have you talk and talk and talk to release it so that you push down your fear, you kind of get over it, you struggle with it and make sure that it stays at bay. You come to me, I'm going to explain to you, anxiety and fear is your greatest friend because it stops you from making stupid decisions, making stupid mistakes, going out there. It keeps you risk averse, and it also helps you to identify when you need to exit a certain situation, when you need to, challenge something. Okay, it is. So now when you know these three things, what I'm trying to tell you is that fear, like you said, can be your greatest asset. But the only problem is fear becomes your weakness when it becomes you. Yeah, exactly. All emotions, all characteristic traits, whether it's sensitivity also. I was extremely sensitive. One of my transformations at 19 was that I was so sensitive when I saw everything I saw, especially working at the United Nations and seeing the global crises as they were, was, wait a minute, I don't want to be sensitive anymore. I want to take that sensitivity and channel it to other people. So suddenly my sensitivity became my greatest strength. It wasn't my weakness anymore. So what I'm saying is when you have any point in your life where we do, which are integral moments, paradigm shifts, that things are going to really change for us, transactional change, tangible things that happen to us. At that point, you just need to understand that every strength you have comes from just transitioning that weakness into that. And you have the ability to do it by not struggling with it. You have to at times feel things to their core for them to lose their power.
You have to non-resist.
Exactly.
Yeah, the non-resistance
and then
is huge
once they become powerful, you can channel them in such amazing ways. And one of the most important things to know is, as human beings, we're gifted with emotion. Yes. Okay? That's what separates us, okay, from other species. But in addition to that, one of the main things is because we internalize everything. One of your greatest assets would be to externalize as much as you can and not take it as personally as you do. So even with the fear aspect, know why you are afraid. When somebody's in front of you doing something or saying something to you, we go so fast because we're scared to that. How dare you do that to me? What do you mean you're doing that to me? Go to the why. Why are you doing that to me? That's probably the most disarming question in the world when you ask why. Because if somebody's doing something to you and you say why, they're going to be like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, it gives that space, right?
Yeah, it does.
I think often what you're talking about a lot too is that we need to get really comfortable with sitting with what we're feeling.
Absolutely.
And being comfortable with it in the sense of not letting it be us.
Exactly. Because it becomes you.
It becomes you. Yeah,
the same thing.
Because we're thinking about it, we program it in our brain, and therefore it is us.
Exactly.
There's no separation anymore unless we actually identify, okay, this is what it is, and
Yeah.
this is what's going on with it, and this is what I can do with it.
Absolutely. I have emotions, but I don't want my emotions to have me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main thing. I don't want them to control me.
I actually have a really interesting question about that as an EQ coach and as.
I'm sorry, I digressed a lot.
No, that's okay. We're gonna get back on here anyway. Don't worry. But the question I have is, if, for example, do you think we have responsibility? So we've been given a wonderful gift of emotions
Mhm.
as human beings.
Mhm.
Do we have a responsibility, not against, because everybody's like, oh, but they're doing that, somebody else is doing
Mhm.
this to me, etc. Would you say to your clients or to your patients that, okay, we have a responsibility with this great asset of emotions
Mhm.
to be aware of what is of self and have consciousness of self?
Absolutely. In fact, I always tell my clients/patients exactly this. I say, look, 50% of your behavioral pattern is explained by trauma episodes, but you have to take accountability for that because 50% of it is, but 50% is also your reactiveness. It is the way that your core beliefs affect your mind and your central nervous system.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the
nervous
main
system.
thing I want them all to know is, yes, your behavioral patterns, trauma explains them, but it does not excuse them.
No, exactly.
And that's where the responsibility and the accountability factor comes in.
Yeah.
You must know that you cannot excuse everything based on, oh, but you did this to me. Oh, but I went through this. Does not matter. We have to bring ourselves to the present. We have to focus, like you said, on meeting that individual where they are,
Yes.
not where we are or where we were, but actually intentionally coming forward and saying, okay, I'm not going to look at my past, not because I'm forgetting it. Your past is your greatest learning lesson. Okay.
If
But
we're comfortable enough to look into it, not
exactly,
just like taking the medicine
exactly,
when you have some kind of mental
absolutely,
illness or whatever, instead of just taking it and trying to repress it,
exactly.
actually living with it.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Like I said, you have to feel it to heal it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. No, it's just so interesting to hear the similarities
Mhm.
and also just the approach. I really respect and appreciate
Thank you.
the approach. You did mention a great one.
And if they say yes,
Okay.
I'm like, okay, then we need to rework. What is the relationship you guys want together?
Mhm.
You can't come to each other with a relationship you have in mind.
It's so interesting how many times I wonder if people don't really ask themselves those questions.
They don't.
Right?
They never ask themselves
Yeah,
their questions.
they never ask themselves those questions.
Between me and you, I don't think I asked myself that question when I embarked.
Yeah, right, exactly. And there are so many actually questions I wonder. I was just having totally off topic, but related to asking questions. I was thinking about myself. I don't think I've ever, the other day I was reflecting on something totally unrelated to this, but it related to professional development, related to mindset. And I was like, I don't think I've ever actually asked myself that question. How did I get where I am now with all the training and all the everything else and never asked myself that question? So imagine how many questions we don't ask ourselves on a daily basis. One question, though, I found fascinating in what you said is that I want a relationship that doesn't need work. Yeah. Now that seems so illogical. Yeah. Just like a lot of the things you said, like two people coming together for a relationship, they want to fit inside of a box, but they know that neither of themselves fit in a box. No. So why would they think that works? So where do you think that's coming from with your clients? Where they want the easiest it's no work relationship?
First and foremost, it comes from culture and conditioning. Okay, culture and conditioning about the idea of love. Love is supposed to just happen. Okay. I love that. Love is supposed to happen though. I'm like, no, love doesn't happen. Love is a verb. It's not a noun. Okay. Love takes time. In fact, love will probably start in the 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th year of being together. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, culture and conditioning, where they honestly believe that they have been told that they have to achieve this relationship, where the relationship is that perfect fit of what they have grown up to know, what the man does, what the woman does, and what they do together. And the best thing, I love this, when they come to me and they actually say that, no, but we see it on TV. We see it in Hollywood and Bollywood. I'm like, that's scripted. So you know what? I will give you a script. Okay. Go home and enact it if you want for a night. But that is fantasy. Then we'll bring you back to reality. So the reality of the situation is that effortless relationships come when you put in effort. Like I said, it's when you become comfortable with one another through the work that you've put into the relationship that you can say, okay, fine, you'll be sitting on a couch and suddenly he'll hold my hand or she will, stroke my thigh or caress me or something. And those little moments, those are the moments that are effortless, where you gravitate towards doing what you love about each other. This whole love language thing. It's the same thing, okay? You can speak to me in French, okay? I will speak to you in Hindi. I don't know French, you don't know Hindi. We'll be saying we love each other, and that's great.
Yeah.
Now, initially in the relationship, I'm going to try and learn French, and you're going to try and learn Hindi just so that we can connect,
Yeah.
you know? But as the relationship goes through, you suddenly stop,
Mhm.
and I suddenly stop. And then you wonder, but the relationship's not where it should be. And I'm like, because you stopped putting in the effort.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's very
Yeah.
true. I think probably
Did I answer that
absolutely,
question? Okay.
absolutely. So I think
Okay.
every single podcast I quote Rumi. So here's another one because
Yeah.
every time, because he's my
Yeah.
absolute favorite poet. But he says, and I think this is very much part of it, is that you have to. You say love is a
Mhm.
verb, which is absolutely
Absolutely.
true. He says that it's your job is basically not to love, but to remove all the blocks to loving.
Absolutely.
Right. So basically remove those things. So which is all these different
Absolutely.
things. And I think also a big component of what you're saying is that it is human nature
Mhm.
to do many of these things. Like for example, I'm not going to learn Hindi anymore, or
Yeah.
it's human nature. I mean, at some
Absolutely.
point, it's not that
Absolutely.
you don't care. It's
No.
not that you're not invested.
No.
It's maybe the intention shifts. And this is what I would like to talk to you about now. It's about intention. Because I think intention is a very core element of your
Absolutely.
being. It's
Yeah.
a very big core element of
It
my
is.
being as well. So you talk about intention
Mhm.
quite a bit
A
in the
lot.
research that we've done
A lot.
and a lot of the reading. So tell me a little bit, like, what does intention mean to you? And how do you work with your patients with intention?
Exactly. So intention to me is actually taking that effort and actioning it out, actually saying, this is what I want to do and I'm doing it. Now, there's a difference between resolutions and intention.
Mhm.
I always say, don't make New Year resolutions.
Terrible.
Please
I
don't,
agree. Please
because they're not
Please
going to
don't do
work.
that, anyone.
Yeah,
I know we're a little
please.
past it, but please don't do it.
Yeah.
They never work.
And
They never work.
actually, this is a big thing for anybody decoding success again,
Yes.
is that there are simple things that you can just alter, which we can talk about later. But initially, the first thing that I would say is move away from the resolutions, move away from the black and white. It's about being intentional, being purposeful. When you're intentional and purposeful about something, you want to ensure that you focus your best efforts on making it happen. Now, that doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, but at least you're working towards making it happen. And to me, intentional and purposeful actioning is so important because it shows someone that you are loving them. It shows someone that you are valuing them. And it shows someone, most importantly, that you want to bring about that change. You talked about, Misu, and the removing of obstacles. Let me tell you something. Most of my therapy doesn't come from learning. It comes from unlearning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Unlearning behavioral patterns, unlearning thought processes, unlearning those core beliefs that block your intention.
Absolutely.
And you're right. I use the word intentional and purposeful probably in most of my talks, in most of my writings, in all of my reels, because I think it's extremely important. So the first thing to being intentional, the first thing is to definitely committing, okay, to acknowledging your role in what's happening, whether it's conflict, discord, distress. Yes, completely taking ownership. Number two, recognizing how and why it's happening.
Yes.
And the third thing is unlearning those patterns. You can only be intentional when you stop being non-intentional. I know it sounds very simple, but the fact is it is simple. It's just not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if we really ever reflect, just
Yeah.
like we never ask ourselves questions about how unintentional we are being most
Absolutely.
of the time, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing too about humanity
Yeah.
is, and we're talking about New Year's resolutions, we set black and white things.
Absolutely.
And we fail as a result.
Absolutely.
Even though I'm a little iffy on the word failure, but we don't achieve what we want to
Yeah.
achieve. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think it's because it works against the human nature versus intention, intention is you are committing to something.
Absolutely.
To self first. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
And it also, you're committing to a relationship because the other person will, if we're talking about the verb of love, they will feel love because they will feel seen, heard, and safe if you're making an intention.
Absolutely.
Now, the degrees of that is where we get through all the unblocking and all the unlearning, but they will feel those ways if you actually make the intention.
Absolutely. And taking on that, that's where it goes to the whole mantra that I use with all of my clients, because it starts with this, where I say, look, I don't need my partner to love me. I love myself, and it takes time for love to grow. I don't need my partner to respect me because respect is earned, but I don't need him to disrespect me. Just, you don't have to respect me, don't disrespect me, but I will earn my respect anyway. I don't need you to value me because I value myself. What I need you to do is make me emotionally safe, and I will make you feel emotionally safe. There are 4 fulfillment factors in relationships: emotional, physical, sexual, and financial. Okay, now how and what the percentages are and all of that, the parameters are, that's between you and your partner. You come together, you set the boundaries, and you create the way you want to work those factors out. But to take on one thing you mentioned, which was, about the thought processes behind, also reflection and things like that. The reason is because the human mind is used to ruminating. What we need to do is be intentional about reflection instead of rumination. They're both the same thing. It's the same process. The same way, rather than expectations, it's requirements. Rather than wants and desires, it's needs.
Right.
So once you know all of that, then you move away from the ego and you move closer to your heart.
Exactly.
And the more you're intentional about working from your heart, the easier it's going to be on you as well as the person in front of you.
Yeah, and the more powerful you are,
Absolutely.
and the more powerful it is. I don't like to use the word empowered because I think, but
that is
it's a hard one. It's
word,
overused because I think it's not well defined.
Yeah.
There's two things I want to ask you, and I want to talk about the me-volution a little bit.
Oh God,
yeah?
yes,
Okay, so
yes.
But first, two things you just spoke about, which is self-love, and how do you or if awareness, self-awareness, there's a lot of there. How, if somebody doesn't have the self-confidence, doesn't have the self-love, from your perspective as a therapist, what do you do about that with your clients?
So everybody has self-love, but the problem is individuals stop believing that they deserve to be loved. And it starts with them.
Yes.
So I address, of course, inner child. I address the younger self. Now, I separate the inner child and the younger self, and then I also discuss the alter ego, which is created to protect the inner child and the younger self. And that alter ego is the ego that we develop, which through the years, if we have a lot of painful experiences, that becomes the dominant personality, which blocks you from loving yourself.
Very strong one too.
Okay, and so I work with all three of these at a great intensity. It's not an easy process. I always say when you come to me for therapy, it's going to be hard because I am going to make you feel it until you heal it. But that intense process is more like the homeopathy of therapy, where just like rather than taking allopathic medication to ease the symptoms, I am going to bring out the core through the homeopathy, where you take the pills that the eczema becomes so bad, but then it's done. It's done. So I will approach it that way. So answering your question on self-love, we all come into the world selfish, which is a beautiful thing actually, and loving ourselves. We cry when we want something. We're taken care of. Our diapers are changed. Our parents love us. They're holding us. They're doing everything. We come in. It's about me when I'm born. How do we lose that? We lose that because we start to slowly realize through the individuals around us, or maybe through the emotional unavailability of our caregivers or people or whatever happens to us, we lose the ability to believe that we deserve that self-love. And then we do an unlearning, which we shouldn't, which is to unself-love. And so I kind of bring that back where I literally say, listen, your pain is your power.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will work through that for you.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's described as the evolution of through self-struggle, which we were just talking about a little bit.
Absolutely.
Can you describe how that inspiration for the concept came to you?
Okay, so
and a little bit about it also.
Absolutely.
So two questions in one, or many questions in one.
Perfect. No, okay. I love talking about me-volution. So me-volution is actually a concept that I did coin. It is the evolution of me. And the evolution of me is important because the concept came from this, where I realized that when I was younger, okay, all I wanted to do is say, am I better than that person? Is that person better than me? Yeah, I need to be better than that person. I was told I had to be better than that person. As a South Asian, it's always in your mind. You must be the best, the best, the best, the best in everything you do. And then I started realizing, wait, stop. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. We're both different. And that is our superpower, the fact that we're different. And then I started realizing it wasn't about being better every day. It was about evolving every day. And you only evolve in three ways. The first way is you evolve when you're intentional about it. The second way is you evolve as you go through the different phases in life, from childhood to teenage, from teenage to young adulthood to marriage, to, everything. And the third one is through pain. If there is no problem, there's no room for you to improve it. So through pain, through struggle. My first book, which I've actually now decided will be my second book, but is the journey of pain that I've gone through. And the pain has been very extensive. But I realized as I reflected on it, as I was writing it, which was very cathartic, that I evolved. The me that I saw through every episode that happened was so amazingly grown that I could actually say that I grew through it. I didn't go through it, I grow through it, and I still do. So I do not believe in the concept, and this is the concept of me-volution. You cannot fake it till you make it. You face it till you make it.
Oh my goodness, you and I have this. I just did a recording on this exact same thing,
There
which
you
is
go.
for me, it's that you,
Yeah.
for me, it's that you adapt to it until it becomes habit.
Absolutely.
You don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it is so psychologically not good for you. And also it's just not authentic. You're not creating an authentic self in any way, shape or form. I could not agree with you more on that. I love your coining of it.
Yeah, no, but
I'm going to
absolutely.
refer to you and be like, I also know this wonderful expert does this as well.
Absolutely.
But like I say, same thing. You have to like practice it until it becomes habit. You have to experience it till it becomes
Completely.
habit. You cannot fake it till you make it.
You cannot.
No, you cannot.
You cannot. And the same way, so when I talk about the me-volution, it's exactly that. It's the same thing. It's like today I can tell you that every day after this talk, we both have evolved from the me perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
We have. I mean, everything we do is, and I'm not going down to that normal thing where it's a learning lesson and this and that. No, it's not. It is growth. Growth in its most beautiful way because it's growth of the self.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not everything is a teachable
No,
moment. Right?
not at
and
all.
that can be really,
Not at
really,
all.
really overdone.
Not
right?
at all.
Not everything's a teachable moment, but everything is a moment to observe
Absolutely.
something and to be just aware of something.
Absolutely. And
There's always
struggle
something there.
is very, very big in it. It's one of the biggest contributing factors. And that's why I don't want people to look at struggle as something that's bad that's happening to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going again back to the regular thing that everybody says, oh, don't worry. But I will tell you, you cannot force what's not meant for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you also will never be able to avoid what is. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And you'll never be at peace with either of those two sides.
No.
If you don't allow which is the allow the struggle, allow the learning, allow the healing, allow the growth part through it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for all of that. That's amazing. So what would you say, because you did refer to your second book, which will be your second book. We can talk about your first book really briefly as well, but you said that maybe there was a defining moment in there in that struggle, or maybe there were many defining moments in that struggle. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that helped you with your identity and your emotional maturity, or maybe gave you something else, if there's something else
I can talk about one that I think I consider very important, because I think it also will help the audience understand that pain is not necessarily, it's the way you look at it. So I unfortunately was sexually assaulted when I was 15 years old and by someone that I really trusted. And, I have transformed into also becoming an individual who's a marriage therapist and a couples therapist who focuses a lot on sexual healing between individuals. So the question I get asked all the time is that you're a sexual assault survivor. How do you feel comfortable promoting sex? Right. So the key over here is, now the reason I bring this up is because, again, it's the way you look at it, and it's a defining moment for me. It was not the act that violated me. It was the man.
Right.
So why should I avoid the act or avoid the peace, the beauty, the intimacy, the way that it brings partners together and punish myself from not indulging because it was a painful period for me? It is about looking at your pain and understanding the intricacy of it. Where did it stem from? How has it impacted you? How can I overcome it to realize that it's not going to be at the expense of me? Yeah, you cannot heal pain with more pain. No. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. So the first book is My Pain is Your Power. Like I said, it talks about multiple episodes of painful experiences. Now, how, it transforms you is exactly this, where you understand that there are three components to overcoming pain. The first one is feeling it. The second one is knowing that you are not to blame for it. Okay, and the third one is looking at it as one of the most defining moments where you will grow. And it is just a lesson of growth, not of learning, but of growth.
Exactly.
Those are very two different things.
Yes, and as an NLP practitioner, the word choice is incredibly important.
Very, very
because
much so.
the learning is outside in.
Yes.
The growth is inside out.
Absolutely.
And we even frame it that way in our
Absolutely.
mind. And it feels very different also. So it's really
Absolutely.
important to use exactly like the word growth versus the learning. Also,
Absolutely.
something really important here for Success Decoded, everyone, is that to be aware of the pain, to not to assign it to your fault, to fault or judgment or self-judgment.
Not at all.
And then to not learn, but to grow. Those are really key things
Absolutely.
in Success Decoded for anything. It could be pain. It could be failure, which
Absolutely.
I really hesitant to use that word. It could be whatever it is.
Absolutely.
This is how you get past that. This is how you grow past that.
Completely.
Is to look at it this way. It's the reframing. The way
the
we're
reframing, exactly. Even if you look at rejection, it's redirection in the end, right? One of my quotes went viral from the book. The book, by the way, is poetry that I've written.
I was going to ask you about the poetry
and then prose,
because I can see a lot in your poetry is about this pain, right?
All
so I
pain.
figured
the poetry and then the prose and then the healing. But one of my quotes, which went viral, which I do believe in, again, this is to help you understand rejection and to know that it's redirection is, and actually 3 of my clients have actually tattooed it and asked me for permission, which I thought was very sweet.
Fantastic. How inspirational is that?
Yeah, it was, I loved loving you, for it was meant to be. I loved letting you go, for that was meant for me.
Yeah, amazing.
And that is the truth.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you start to self-love, when you start to look at yourself as the priority, and being selfish, as I said, is not a bad thing. It's just about not having an intentional agenda to emotionally harm someone, is that you will start to open your eyes and look at the world in a very different manner, and especially who you choose. Because your central nervous system is so used to certain individuals. So you will keep gravitating to that same version in different people and then keep wondering, but why? And I'm like, well, let's go back to understanding why you're choosing
because
who you're choosing.
It's comfortable. It's subconsciously comfortable for you. It's your emotional regulation system comfortable. It's comfortable for you. But then when you tell somebody it's comfortable for me, but I don't like it, it's like, but it's not about like or dislike.
Exactly.
It's about what your body knows, recognizes, and mentally recognizes
familiar
and will go for, familiar with.
Absolutely.
It's very human.
Absolutely.
This is a very human condition.
Absolutely.
It's not, we're not asking anybody to unlearn being human.
Yes, not at all.
We're just saying understand being human,
Absolutely.
right? Understand our humanity, because it's all in that, which is totally in that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will ask you a little bit about the sex therapy.
Sure.
How do you navigate that topic? Not because it's a bad, dirty topic, but because it's a sensitive one, as in people don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about that topic. I would say definitely here in India. I would say even in the United States, people don't feel necessarily comfortable talking about that.
No.
How do you navigate that with clients? Maybe they don't come to you for that, but it comes out. Or maybe
always
you
comes
would
out.
like for it to come out, because that is the elephant in the room, right?
Yes.
How do you navigate that?
Well, the first thing is I am very, very open about the fact that I do believe that sexual health plays a big role in mental and physical health. A big, big role. It is, in fact, probably a huge contributing factor to the balance of mental health and physical health. I am very open about that. When my couples come to me, I'm very open about that. When you come as an individual, it's one of my questions in the intake form. It is one of the questions, but it has optional next to it. So it is one of the questions saying that, how often do you, have intimacy? And how do you feel about your sexual health? And is there any issues you would like to address through therapy? All of these are optional, but they're there. So number one, I think I already, start off that comfort level with them. Also, it is very important for me to highly stress this, and I do all the time, that this is the most safe, secure, confidential journey. Even when couples come to me, I use the Gottman method, as I said. They come to me as a couple, but I do see them individually every few sessions. What one of them says to me in their individual sessions, the other person does not know. I may be taking you and your partner, at different times, but they won't even know those times unless you share that with each other. I definitely do not take two individuals together. If I'm not taking them for couples therapy, then it's a conflict of interest. But I work so closely on making them feel very comfortable knowing it's completely confidential, that they will still discuss it with me. But when I take you as a couple, I do bring it up again, and I do ask you, are you comfortable discussing it? Because I explain to them that sexual health is very important. And then we get into talking about it, and then we get to it. I also know, and this is why it's one of my questions, that SSRIs benzodiazepines, they cause sexual dysfunction.
Yeah, exactly.
I've written papers on the impact of sildenafil and also, other SSRIs. So Viagra is sildenafil, but other SSRIs and the sexual dysfunction associated to it. I talk about benzodiazepines and how they can cause erectile dysfunction and things like that, and also reduce the libido of women as well. So, I mean, there's a lot we discuss. And so first I start more with the medicinal aspect. And then I do take you through the journey of, I would say, sexploration, if you require it. I would say pleasing one another, self-pleasure. These are important things. So we slowly embark on the journey with baby steps if they're comfortable to do so. But yes, it's a very difficult journey to take.
Imagine. Let
clients
me ask
on.
the why question then.
Please do.
Okay, so the why question is, why do you think this topic is so hard? Like, if you were to give me like a one sentence, why do you think this topic is so hard? I mean, across the world, because I don't think it's, I think there's levels of sensitivity, but I think it's a difficult topic everywhere.
I will. Yeah. So I can't give it to you in one sentence.
Yeah, but
I'm a
that's
Gemini,
right. I mean, I don't want to actually control your
I will give you one sentence at the end, though. I'll quote someone.
Okay, great.
So the first thing is, when men are sexually rejected, believe it or not, they're emotionally invalidated. They get emasculated. They feel like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. They tend to think a lot. So that's how they feel. And then they also start to look elsewhere because it boosts their ego. So their ego is hurt when they're sexually rejected. When women are sexually rejected, they're physically invalidated. Body dysmorphia, my body's not good, this is not good, ego. Again, it boils down to ego. So when we're talking about something that can hurt the ego, remember, sexual rejection also means hearing from your partner that I'm not fully pleased, that I'm not fully satisfied. So that is the main thing. Which
takes both partners, right? This is the other thing too that I think I'm sure you talk about all the time, but it takes two people. We're going back to the Success Decoded here, even in this topic.
Absolutely.
Because you have to take ownership. There needs to be ownership. Part of success for anything, if you want relationships, it has to be ownership, right?
And then the main thing, if you want that one sentence, like Oscar Wilde said, everything in the world is about sex, except for sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Sex is about power.
Yeah.
And so when you discuss sex with me in an open forum with a third party, even though I'm your therapist, and you love me and you trust me, you're giving away power if you're not able to fulfill the sexual component for yourself or for someone else.
Yes.
And I think that's why.
Amazing.
And beyond that, culture and conditioning, right? That don't talk about it. It's not healthy to talk about it.
Exactly. It's not clean to talk about it.
No, don't tell your husband or your partner as a woman what pleases you or how to please you, because that's not right. I mean, the taboo associated to it. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're almost towards the end of this amazing interview. We could go for hours. Though.
I think we could.
I know you have patients that are waiting.
I think we could,
But okay, how has your definition of success evolved throughout your career in personal growth?
Oh, wow.
That's a hard one.
That's a loaded question. I love that. That's a loaded question. I think that first thing is when your passion meets your purpose. I think that is success. It's not about the amount of money I've made. It's not about the money I've made for other people. It's not only about the lives touched. It's a very easy thing to say, I've touched so many lives. I think it's about the fact that passion and purpose, when they come together, there's just a different feeling inside. And that is the success. And I think most importantly, for me, success is actually where I wake up and I go to sleep comfortable.
Peace.
Just comfortable. I'm at ease. And I always say to someone, I don't need you to be at peace with me. No. I want you to be at peace with yourself.
Exactly.
And that's success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just be at peace with yourself.
Because from everything we talked about today, if you are at peace with yourself, everything else will flow.
And that's the hardest thing to achieve.
It's so hard. It is. You flow from that space does not mean that you will not be triggered, that you will not have anger.
Absolutely not.
But it will be different. You have more space.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really important distinction because people think, oh, well, I'm at peace. I'm like in a Zen Buddhist state somewhere. No.
And to take
it's
on
like
that,
really living peace.
And to take on that, I have to say this. I know we're at the end, but honestly speaking, people that come to me and say that I'm good vibes only, this and that. No, chronic positivity is toxic too. And I have to treat
positivity.
that. I have to treat it the way I treat depression. That means you're too happy and something's not real.
No, it's not real.
We need to talk about this.
No.
Yeah, we need to talk about
when
this.
I work with my students that I work with, they always, when I talk about toxic positivity, I'm like, hey, everyone, do you know those t-shirts that say good vibes only or positive vibes only? I'm like, no, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
That's imbalance.
That's totally imbalanced because that's not life.
No.
That's not life. That's not what we're aiming for. And that's just like your New Year's resolutions. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Absolutely.
And not authentic self. Okay, let me ask you your rapid fire questions.
All right, let's do this. Excited.
They're lighting up the mood. I think we've already done that anyway, but with a meaningful rapid fire round. Okay, so what's a book that changed your perspective on life?
Oh God, a book that changed my perspective on life. Honestly, I would say all of them have. Nothing really has impacted me to that great degree.
It's hard for me to answer this one
So
also.
it is very hard for me to single out one book. Can we go back to that one?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right,
okay, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Honestly, it would be Victoria Satir.
Okay.
I would love to meet her.
That's a good one.
Would love to meet her.
Okay, what's a daily habit or ritual that keeps you grounded?
I would say 2 glasses of red wine, but I'm not going to say that right now. I'm going to honestly say, I would say in the morning I do wake up and I am intentional. So I just kind of take 5 minutes every morning to say, what am I going to be intentional about today?
Okay, amazing. Gratitude practice for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of those things as well. So that's fantastic. One piece of advice you give to your younger self?
Always the same thing I told you, that listen, losing yourself will help you gain other people. Gaining yourself might help you lose other people, and that's okay.
And that's okay. That's healthy.
And it's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay.
I wish my younger self knew that. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay. That's not a finite thing. It's not like that's not the end of it. Okay. What's a song or artist that always lifts your spirit?
Sweet Child of Mine. Sorry, Guns N' Roses, my favorite song. I can listen to it. It's my ringtone. It's my everything.
It's your everything.
I could be in the worst mood and I listen to that. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Yeah. Axel, take me where I need to go. Yeah.
If you had to describe your life philosophy in one sentence, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well, I believe in love because the way I love.
Amazing.
I just love everyone. I actually do. Yeah, I actually do. I don't hate. I don't hate. I love you. I don't dislike also. I love, but I may not have to love you forever, but I love you. That's about it.
Yeah, it's everything comes from love, you know?
Exactly.
For example, for mine in that case, it's again, it's a Rumi quote. So it's basically everything that you do must be from love.
Absolutely.
Everything must be due from love. Okay. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment I've ever received. I've received lots of them, which is very sweet. But I think, actually the fact that someone told me one day that, you know what, you're changing a lot of lives.
Yeah. Amazing.
You're making that impact.
You're very inspiring as a human being.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. You're very inspiring holistically.
And it's great to talk to you too. Thank you. It was great to talk to you as well. One was actually, when I grow up, I want to be you.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute. That was cute.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a good one too. Yeah. I hope someday somebody says that to me. Okay. Your go-to self-care activity.
My go-to self-care activity, honestly, is listening to music. Okay. I will say it is. Yeah.
If you could master any skill instantly, what would it be?
Cleaning. I'm not good at cleaning at all, but other than I'm clean, but I hate cleaning. No, but the skill I would want to master is probably singing at like a soprano level and just, being able to do that. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. What does success mean to you in one word?
Peace.
Peace. Amazing.
Peace. Well, the book. Back to the book.
Back to the book. See, I almost
honestly, I really don't know which one I could say, but I think attached, because I focus a lot on attachment styles. So I did appreciate attached. And actually, I recommend that to most of my clients. Okay. So I would say attached.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, I can't even, to say that this was a pleasure is an understatement.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for your insight. And also thank you for two souls connecting. I have appreciated it immensely.
Thank you. And I am so happy. And I thank the universe for bringing us together. Yes, honestly speaking, this was amazing. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more.
We are. We for sure are. Thank you so much.
Thank
and thank you for decoding success in such a phenomenal way.
Thank you for having such a beautiful platform. I am so excited to see everything else as well.
This is what Success Decoded is all about. Finding the unique pathways that led successful individuals to their versions of success so that we can be empowered to do so ourselves.